I do them just periodically, not methodically on a daily basis. And so the fun part will be what's going to happen when I do all of them every day for 100 days in a row. I want to see. Meditation is important, says Cheryl. Yeah, so one of the things that's hard for me is stopping the brain. So I come up with ideas all the time. My brain literally is on fire all the time thinking of things. I think it makes me good at what I do, but it's also the curse of what I do because I am constantly thinking of new ideas, new ways to say things, new book ideas, new podcast guest ideas, and things to talk about. And so meditation actually is extremely hard for me to focus and to stop letting my mind scatter. So if I can focus in on the task at hand of the meditation, that will be a big deal. Now, I did get one of those Muse things where you can stick it on your head. It's just this little thing that you slide on your head, and it matches up with an app. And on the app, as you're meditating, if your mind starts to wander, it actually senses the EKG waves in your brain, and it actually starts making thunderstorm noises on the app, meaning calm yourself down. And so that was kind of interesting that it gave you that immediate feedback that your mind was wandering. But I always felt it long before. Tom says, this is a big challenge. Well, Tom, it's a big challenge because it's a big issue. And it's something that I wanted to do, like I said, 2 years ago when I went away on sabbatical. This was my intention. All of these things that I just described, maybe not in this order and all of these things, but I wanted to do something big while I was away on sabbatical. Because look, I had all the time in the world. I wasn't on social media. I was doing no podcasts. I was doing nothing. And so I thought I'll have plenty of time to do these things. And then life had a funny way of making me deal with some of my emotional weight and baggage, which, by the way, I don't want to discount that. Even though 2 years ago I went away for a physical transformation journey for 6 months, I wanted to come back and look great and feel great. I got a bigger change than anybody knows because emotionally, psychologically, I was able to start the healing work that probably needed to happen decades ago. And so in the end, I'm glad it worked out the way it did. I was disappointed I wasn't able to do the physical changes, but the emotional, mental health changes and my change in perspective on life, I wouldn't trade that for anything. And it's been basically about a 2-year journey that I've been on. And I'm just coming to this point where I'm ready to do the physical because the mental is dialed in. I missed the reason you're doing this, just for more general well-being. Sounds amazing. Yes, I just explained why I'm doing this. I like how genuine you are. Thank you, Tom. I'm really trying to be honest because, look, I probably get more criticism online than most people. And I know why. That's the funny part. It's not like oh my gosh, why are they coming against me? I talk about health. I talk about helping people change their life and having life transformation. I bring on weight loss success stories. I bring on health change stories. And so people look at me and say, oh, that's the messenger for keto. That's the messenger for carnivore. And I get it. You know, people want the people talking about these things to look a certain way and to have a certain look. I've never really worried about that because I know who I am. I know how I eat. I know I'm doing all the things that should be working and helping. And I'm a voracious investigator into other underlying causes that could be going on. I do think the dealing with the childhood trauma stuff was a big thing, and I'm starting to see a little bit of benefits now mentally from that. So I think that will manifest physiologically at some point. But I also am looking at some gut health things. I just sent off for this test called the OATS test. It's an organic acids test, and it's going to give me more clues. So while I'm doing this physical journey, I'm still continuing to be an investigator of my own health. And this is a lesson I want to teach you guys, that you might not feel like you look the part. You might not feel like, oh, what do I have to offer because I don't look healthy to people, or I will get criticism. You know what? As someone who has gotten daily criticism for 15 years in a row, Fuck them, okay? Like, get out there, be confident in who you are. Don't worry about what other people have to say. Excuse my French, but that bugs me that people feel held back by that kind of thing. I have never felt held back. I can tell you that it does take a bit of a toll because it does get nauseating seeing the same thing over and over again and assumptions made about you. But at the end of the day, Jimmy Moore knows who Jimmy Moore is, and I don't have to explain that to anybody. Healthy Mission says, I do transcendental meditation, life-changing for my anxiety. Yes, there are lots of different kinds of meditation out there, and I'm really excited to get going with that myself. And I do think, other than the tire flipping, that will be my biggest challenge, is the meditation. All the rest of them will be relatively easy. So if you're just joining us, I am talking about my upcoming Stay-Batical 250. It is starting on Wednesday, September the 1st, 2021. When I wake up that day, it's hit the ground running day, and I'm going to just be going crazy with all these biohacks. And so if you missed any of these, if you came in late, go back, rewatch this again. I explain all of them, or you can go read my social media posts from yesterday. I did a whole list of the ones that I'm doing on odd days. Basically, it's the same odd and even days. The only thing I do different on even days is I'm not flipping the tire on those days, but I'm doing that on odd days. All the rest of the biohacks are intact.
Real Good Foods is one of the fastest growing frozen food companies in the U.S. Everything they make is nutrient dense, high in protein, low in carbs, and made from real food ingredients. They make food for every occasion: breakfast sandwiches, poppers, enchiladas, entrees, and pizza. So whether you're on a keto diet, trying to cut back on your carbs, or just trying to eat healthier, they make super convenient and tasty options. RealGoodFoods.com and at Real Good Foods on social media.
Starting on September the 1st and going all the way to December the 10th, so 100 days in a row. The first 50 days, I'll be doing all of my things. And again, I'm going to reiterate, don't try to mimic what I'm doing. This is not intended to be prescriptive. I didn't set out all of these things to challenge you to do them, because some people are like, well, I don't have an infrared sauna. I don't have that. I don't have that. I'm like, I didn't say to do what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing for me. You come up with something that challenges you. And so even as I'm talking here, if you're thinking of things that you're like, hey, I would feel challenged if I did this, tell me what those things are. I want to see what some of your challenging things would be. Chris says, helps so much. Nice personal challenge. Thank you, Chris. Yes, I think we should all be challenging ourselves. And look, in this day and age where mainstream medicine has let us down, they're not helping us get to the root causes of our health. You've got to grab back control of your own health. And the way you do that is through your own self-experimentation, self-challenging, self-motivation to do things that push you to your limits. I don't think we even realize the full capabilities we have within us. If we did, I think it would shock us. If you knew what you were capable of doing, it would truly shock you. I really believe that. So when does it start for us, says Holly? So that would be 50 days into the challenge. And so I'm starting on September 1. Alexa, what is 50 days from September 1?
1 month and 20 days after Wednesday, September 1st, 2021 is October 21st, 2021.
So it looks like October 22nd is day 51. And so October 22nd is when you guys would start. And so then October 22nd all the way to December the 10th. Now what will happen is I'll have done the first 50 days, then I'll just do 50 more days of my same challenge. So by the end, I will have done 100 days and you guys would finish your 50 days. And I'm going to be doing lots of Instagram lives, lots of kind of social media updates. I want to hear, once you guys get started, I want to hear testimonials of people, what you're doing, maybe bring you on a live for an interview. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of content coming up here in the next few months with this. Kelly says, yay, I start no dairy, no caffeine, no swerve starting tomorrow. Now that is a challenge. That's really good. If you're not used to giving up dairy, giving up caffeine, giving up swerve, that's going to be really interesting. One of the things I'm going to do in this as well is I'm going to try to just make water my drink. So I'll occasionally have diet soda. I'll occasionally have, a thing here, a thing there. But I want to make water the only drink that I have. And so I'm always drinking water. You guys see me when I do interviews. I'm sipping water like a madman. And so I enjoy water. I also am going to be very dedicated to making sure I get electrolytes in. And so LMNT, Element, is the one that I'm going to be using during the challenge as well, especially with all the sweating I'll be doing. I want to make sure I'm replenishing those electrolytes so I don't get any of the Charlie horses and things like that. Oh, speaking of, so nutritionally, it's just going to be the animal-based foods. So that means no sweets, no nuts, no nothing, no avocado. And people are like, well, those things aren't inherently bad. No, they're not. And I do allow them from time to time into my diet now. I've been mostly carnivore for about 3.5 years. I'll allow in some nuts and things like that from time to time. But mostly it's been animal-based foods. But I really want to dial it in even more. Be really strict about it being animal foods, salt, water. And then on the fasting days, by the way, I didn't mention this. On the fasting days, salt and water. That's it. I don't want there to be bone broth. I don't want there to be other sources of nutrition. And I just know from my previous fasting experiences that that's just the best way to do it. You avoid a lot of the trouble that people tend to have when they go on a fast, which, by the way, I have done some alternate day fasting, which is what this will be, but never to this intent and extent of intensity, and never for this long. I haven't done this extended period of an alternate day fast. By the way, when I was going to go away 2 years ago and work on my health journey, I was going to alternate day fast the entire time. And so this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. 50 days of eating, 50 days of fasting alternately. So over the 100 days, I will have 50 feast days and 50 fast days. It's going to be really interesting. I can't help but wonder what that's going to do to body composition. And I'm not weighing myself, so don't even try to ask, how much weight have you lost? I'm not going to care about the weight. Look, I've done this thing for 17 years. I've been online as I was originally a weight loss success and then as a diet advocate. I don't care about weight. It's obvious I have weight on the body, and it will be obvious when the weight is gone. Now, what I will do, I won't post them in real time because I want to kind of like let them build up a little bit. But what I will do is stand right here in my recording studio, and I will put my camera back over there, and I'm going to take a full body shot without a shirt on every single day for the entire 100 days. Because I want to see the changes that are taking place. Because sometimes it won't always be obvious. But if I stand in the same place and I put the camera in the same place every single day for 100 days in a row, I will see what changes are happening. I'll see the body fat loss. I'll see the body composition changes. I'll see the muscle growth. It will all become very, very obvious. So I will be doing that. But I'm not going to be doing any stepping on a scale. I honestly don't care. What I might do is step on the scale at the very beginning just so I have the start weight, and then maybe step on it at the very end so I have the end weight. But I don't really care about that because the weight isn't what's of interest to me. Getting healthier is what's of interest to me. Losing body fat is what's of interest to me. Gaining muscle is of what's interest to me. So don't ask. I will say this ahead of time. Don't ask. Because I know people are going to, and when I start doing updates, wow, it looks like you've lost weight. How much have you lost? I won't know because I won't be testing. Won't be testing. CKS, I can no longer share anything to Instagram stories. Oh no, I hate that. You're not the only one I've heard that said they're struggling with that. Holly says, I'm giving up dairy too. It's a big one. I'm still going to include dairy in my eating plan. And maybe once I'm done with the 100 days, I will probably continue on with the anticipation of there being great changes that take place physiologically.